Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Here we share beginner-friendly tutorials on Minecraft, Roblox, Scratch, web programming, and many more. Today we're going to be learning how to create a drum kit in Scratch. So let's get started. Let's take a look at this project first before we get started, and we will see how it works. So as you can see, any of the drum parts you click, hear a certain sound according to that drum part. All right, great. So let's get started on how to make this project. Okay, so first of all, we will start by creating an empty Scratch project, and then we will delete our cat sprite first. Let's let it load. Okay, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna search for a drum kit image online. Now, I've already found one and downloaded it on my computer. What you want to do is also find one for yourself, and you can go to Backdrops and then upload that drum kit image onto your project. So a good example of finding the drum kit on while you're searching for it could be searching drum kit game view, and you can get something which is like this as well. Now this is pretty decent. We have a proper drum set. You can, then we can map out all of this sounds in over here. Great. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start creating hitboxes. Now, hitboxes in games are basically invisible spaces that are used to detect something when something gets hit. Now, when we're using these kind of hitboxes, it allows you to create a sound in the game. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a sprite with the paint tool. And we're gonna start creating these hitboxes by creating an oval. I'm just gonna change this color to black. Okay, and I wanna move this hitbox as close and make it as distinct to the drum parts as possible. So for example, if I have this tom over here, nice. So this looks pretty decent and good enough for it to be the hitbox of this part. Next, you want to do this for all of the parts, the remaining parts of the drum. But before that, what we can also do to make it an easier process is we can add sounds in it, and we can just duplicate the parts and adjust it according to the part. So let's say, for example, for over here, I'm going to delete this pop sound, and I'm going to look for the percussion sounds. Now, since we're working with a tom over here, let's say, I want to get this sound over here. And we can just make it a little bit softer. Sounds a little bit like a tom. Next, what we can do is we can right click over here and duplicate this. Now you can just readjust the position of it according to where you want the hitbox to be. Again, I'm gonna just resize it a little bit just because it looks a little bit different. And now since this is a different hitbox, I'm gonna make this sound a little bit different as well. So I'm gonna name this Tom 2 and maybe make this a little bit more soft and slower. Okay, so now this sounds a little bit deeper as well. So we have two sounds, one, and this one is a little bit higher. And now I'm going to continue with duplicating for the rest of the parts as well. So just duplicate and then go back to costumes. And I'm going to move this down here. Now you want to adjust it according to the part size. So just keep on doing that until you have the right size adjustments. It can be a little bit tricky for some parts, but you want to make it as accurate as possible. It doesn't have to be super accurate, but as long as you can create like a hitbox that the player can touch. All right, I think I'm happy with this one. And then I'm just gonna change the sound over here. Let's say I'm gonna add a snarey sound over there. Go back to my percussion. Let's look for snares, snare drum. And I'm just gonna add that. That's gonna be the sound for this one. And I'm just gonna continue onwards, like duplicating and moving it to the next place. So our kick drum over here needs to be adjusted as well. Again, take your time with this. It can be a time-consuming process, but it is pretty simple to do once you get the hold of it. All right, so now I'm gonna put the sound of the kick over here, kick drum. All right. Okay, that's good. Back to duplicating this. Okay, and then this one would also be, let's just have this a snare drum sound over there. Okay, now we only have the hats remaining, so let's just finish up with those as well. All right, let me just find the sound for it. So we have clap, cymbal. Okay, let's have this cymbal crash over here. And then let me just duplicate this. It's a little bit different sound, so that looks different. I'm just gonna adjust this one again. The size of it is a little bit. Okay. Now finally, we just have the close hat. Just duplicate that last one. And just make this sound different as well. Yeah, make it like a cymbal on a crash. Okay, so now that we have all of our hitboxes done, we will now move on to the coding of this. Now, the coding process of this will be, we will code in one hitbox, and then the same code will be duplicated in all of the hitboxes. So it should be pretty simple. Let's first start with one of the hitboxes. Let's say I'm starting with this sprite one over here. I'm going to start with a when flag clicked. Now, first of all, we want it to be going in the front of the layer. So you will get a go to front layer, and we want it to show. Now, there's another thing that we want it to be happening is we don't want the hitboxes to be seen while we're playing the game. So we're going to be using an effect called the ghosting effect, set ghost effect, and we're going to set it to 100%. What this will do is basically it will make it transparent so that when we're actually running the project, the hitboxes are not seen. Then what we want to do is basically get a forever loop. Since we want this to be running forever throughout the game, we will put it in, and we need to check whether if the mouse is touching the hitbox or not. And the way that we do that is we get an if condition. So we're going to get a if blank then. There's a couple of blocks that we also need is a blank and blank, which is checking two conditions together. So we're going to go in our operator, get our blank and blank. And we want to check our mouse down. and touching mouse pointer. So these are the 3 blocks that we need to actually test if we are actually hitting that hitbox. So after assembling these blocks together, we want to put them inside the forever loop. So let's start with putting this inside the if condition. And we're checking that if the mouse is down and if it's touching the mouse pointer, the hitbox, then we want something to happen. So before we want it to play any sound, we want it to wait. So we're gonna get a wait from the control section first. Right here. And we're gonna get a not blank and put it over here. The reason we're doing this, we're just gonna check if it's not actually a mouse button, it's not down, so that it's gonna then play the sound after the mouse is not down. So we're gonna go get that mouse down again. And then finally play that sound that we have assigned for this hitbox. So we go to sound and start sound, drum. So let's try for specifically this, if this works, and it does. So that's great. So now all we have to do is pretty simple. We're just gonna copy and paste it into all of these hitboxes. So I'm just Command C and Command V, or Control C or Control V, and copying and pasting all this code into the rest of the hitboxes. Now you want to make sure that when you're duplicating or pasting them into all these hitboxes, you change the sound according to what did you have assigned for that particular hitbox. So I had Tom 2 over here. For this one, we had a snare drum. This one had a kick. That was also a snare. And we had cymbal crash. And another cymbal crash. And a cymbal. So now let's take a look at the final project. You can see you have all the hitboxes working, and always go back and change the sound according to how you want it to be. That's good. So now you can play around with different sounds. It just doesn't have to be like a drum kit. You can use your own custom sound as well and play around with it as much as you want. Well, so that's our finished project. You can also use different images. It doesn't have to be this image. You can use a bongo, you can use a keyboard. Using these hitboxes, you can create a lot of different kind of projects now. You can create like a keyboard and have different keys of those hitboxes playing different instrument sounds as well. So the ideas you can come up with are limitless using these hitboxes. So that's all for today. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe and like our videos. Also check out these 2 other videos here while you're waiting for the next video. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.